Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us for another Hot Jobs with us here at Higher Military. Before I get going, where are you in the world today? Share where you're located, something fun. I need some excitement in my life right now. What's going on? What type of roles you're looking for? Are you here for the skill bridge chat? Are you here for the direct hire permanent role conversation? Do you have a question for us? When it comes to recruiting, the job search, transitioning from the military, you name it, we are here for you today for the next 30 minutes. And we are so glad to be streaming over to you. If we haven't met before, I'm Lucy. I am one of the recruiters here at Higher Military, and it is great to be on your computer or your phone screen this afternoon. I'm based out of Alaska for the next couple of weeks. Bipolar weather in Alabama today, Robin. Wow. It's a bit chilly in Alaska, let me tell you. Oh, I don't even know what the weather is, but it's pretty cold. But I'm very excited to tell you that my house is all packed up. PCS is imminent, and we are busting out of Eielson Air Force Base in Fairbanks, Alaska, where the jets are still going overhead, down to the southeast of the country, where I will be warm always and will never need to thaw out. I'm very excited. We're moving to North Carolina. It's great to see you today, James, Candice, Emmanuel. Lovely. Thank you for joining us. Amber, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name's Amber. I'm one of the recruiters here at Higher Military. I work mostly on the SkillBridge side. So if you have any questions about SkillBridge, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I am a Air Force vet. I retired last year after 21 years. My husband is also a veteran of the Air Force, and we have moved to El Paso, Texas, where my husband grew up, and it is beautiful here. So summer is upon us here.
Look, we've got Charlotte, North Carolina in the house, Charleston, hey, Philip, hey, Maryam in Fort Knox, Kentucky. I can't wait to be driving through your part of the country very soon and settling in Raleigh. Yes, Krista, North Carolina, no, it doesn't have winter, not compared to what I've got right now, and possums. Krista shared a photo with me this week of a possum, and I had no idea what it was, and she laughed at me saying, you're going to have to get used to these critters in your yard soon enough, so that's going to be fun. So this is our favorite 30 minutes of the week. We get to spend it with you, sharing our support, our advice, as well as our newest roles and skill bridge opportunities. If you're not aware, we are here for the whole of the military community. So SkillBridge is open to those internships, or CSP, if you are Army, are open to those who are still on active duty and in the last 6 months of their active duty. Everything else is open to veterans, military spouses, dependents, and transitioning service members. So hopefully we've got something for everybody. We have lots of new positions to share today. And I will kick off in a second with the permanent roles, the direct hire ones, which are open to everybody. In the meantime, let me tell you a couple of things that I would love you to be aware of. Mike Quinn, our current CEO, has his Mastering LinkedIn and Personal Branding webinar that he delivers with USO. It's the USO Transitions Program every month or so. And that is on May the 2nd, so that is Thursday. It's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It is actually labeled or branded the Military Spouse Edition, and that is to welcome spouses and encourage them to come. However, what I will share is that everybody is invited to the table. There's a seat for everybody there because the content is the same. He just really wants to make sure that spouses know that he is there for them as well. In addition, there's been a lot of chatter on LinkedIn, specifically on my profile today, with regard to making job applications. So we'll have a quick chat about that in a second. But if you are not aware and you haven't seen it before, on our website, highermilitary.us, not only will you see all of our careers pages, so both the SkillBridge and the permanent jobs one, up at the very top, you will see resources. And if you click on that handy dandy link, you will go to job seeker resources. And then under there, we have some great marketing pieces, articles that we have written and want to share with you. One is how to really target your resume, how to take a job description and create a competitive application that hopefully will get you through to interview, because that is always the first objective when we are applying for a role. And second of all, if you don't have time to go to Mike's webinar on Thursday, because it is 2 hours, there is a great piece that Olivia in our marketing team put together on how to create an effective LinkedIn profile. And I think that segues really nicely into the conversation that we wanted to have. because your LinkedIn profile really is who you are in our world. It is the introduction that we have to you. And Amber and I were talking about this earlier because we spend a lot of time in the back room of LinkedIn that you guys don't see. Ultimately, it is the whole of the database. And we use that to recruit. We pay for that. We type in a few search functions and it comes up with everybody. Then we hit the great button that gives us the military affiliated talent. So it takes the millions of numbers down to about 100 most of the time. But that is how we headhunt or we talent source when we are looking for candidates. So let's back up a step. As recruiters, our role is to primarily serve our clients. Companies come to us specifically and say, hey, we are looking for some military or military spouse affiliated talent. We want to recruit from your population. So we advertise, we come on here, we talk about our roles, we go out to our various resources, and we do an awful lot. And ultimately, we don't always get applications. So we then have to be incredibly proactive in terms of how we find candidates. So we use LinkedIn as our search mechanism and our database. And we can only work to the information that you share. And if that's not up to date, we run the risk of upsetting you. Amber, I'm going to hand over to you for you to give an example.
I mean, not everybody gets upset. I mean, we do from time to time. Yeah, exactly. We do get different messages depending on the roles that we're sourcing for. We do source for some very high level, high paying roles. And so, when we send out messages, it's really just to see if you're interested. And if you're not interested, there is nothing wrong with typing a quick message back saying not interested. There's even the auto button that you could just hit decline and it'll tell us you're not interested. And that's perfectly fine. We completely understand. But the key thing, like Lucy said, is to make sure that your profile is up to date. I do know there are times to time we'll find people who maybe haven't been on their LinkedIn in a while. They got a job. They just didn't go back and update it. Some people aren't using it the way that maybe we use it. But like I was telling Lucy before we got on, I used to compare for, maybe some of the younger transitioning service members. I compare LinkedIn to like a social media page for job seekers, right? And it's for them to understand what LinkedIn is used for, how it can be used, and it kind of relates to what they understand. But I would actually say LinkedIn is a networking tool. It really is. And to treat it as such, pretend like it's a virtual networking shop that you're at, an event, and it's ongoing all the time. So definitely it's a way to cultivate, relationships and meet people. And you never know when you're going to need someone in the future. So, or run across them in the future. So I'm just very cognizant about, even when I was searching myself, I turned down jobs, I turned down interviews, I got offers. I was always very polite. I was always very grateful for even the opportunity for somebody taking their time out of their day to speak with me or even interact with me, because it does mean a lot. Their time does mean a lot. And so I think all the recruiters that I've ever dealt with, they were amazing. And they were always so gracious. So that would just be what I would say, is treat LinkedIn like a networking tool. Update it. Make sure your profile is updated because we can only see what we can see. And if there's something you absolutely want recruiters to know about you, put it in your profile.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing. As an example, say, for example, we are looking to recruit in Jacksonville, Florida. If your profile says Jacksonville, Florida, we're going to connect with you if it looks like you've got all of the other skills and experience that we're looking for. And then we get people back saying, oh, no, I'm only looking in Charleston, South Carolina. That's totally cool. But I didn't know that because that wasn't the information that was presented on the platform. So look, we are trying our hardest to fill our roles, to hit our KPIs, to make our metrics, to do our jobs, to serve you, our community, and find you roles, but ultimately make our managers happy, but our clients happy as well. So we've got a lot of competing priorities, and we really are here to do the best job that we possibly can. We promise. And I just wanted to give you that background from a recruiter's perspective today. If you have any questions at all about our thoughts or our experiences or how things work behind the curtain, please ask, because the more we can expose that and lift that up, the better you have an understanding of what our motivators are, how we work, and what really supports your application. And really, that is the reason why we share this information. We want you to know how our brains work, how our formulas work, how we identify suitable versus non-suitable for candidates for the roles, because we want you to have the best success. And we want you to know from the get-go how to position yourself to a recruiter, or when you are submitting your application, your resume through a system, so that you can pass as seamlessly as possible to the interview stage. And that's really where we want you to get. So if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments. But if not, we will move on. Before we do, again, be a motivated job seeker. We have lots of new roles that we have put up this week on hiremilitary.us. I am going to talk from a permanent job or a direct hire job perspective. And I'm going to jump into those right now. Alexander has asked, what's Mike's event about? Mike is with the USO Transitions team on Thursday. Every month, he delivers a Mastering LinkedIn and you're creating your own personal branding event. It's 2 hours where he teaches you how to navigate, how to use, and how to optimize LinkedIn for your own personal gain, be that networking, finding roles, positioning yourself, making contacts within organizations. So that is a super event that we have all been to multiple times, and we always learn something new every time we go. So let's jump into it. Let's get going. The first thing I would say to you is, as we share the roles, if you are interested in any of them, please comment with the title of the specific job, so that we can come back after the live event and we can share the URL for that role. So as an example, if I say program manager, just hit program manager, type that in, because we cannot post URLs during the live. LinkedIn just deletes them as soon as we hit the enter button. So we have a tricky time there. I do see some questions. So what I wanted to say to you was, I'm just going to park those for now, and we will come back to those at the end of the event. Robert, I can see yours here right now. So just hold for a second and I'll come back to those. So what have we got? The first one I want to share with you today is working with a very well-known US-based software company. We have an IT professional services consultant role. I need people with full scope polys. So if you saw my LinkedIn post today, that is the deal breaker on this one. And I know that that is a huge needle in a tiny haystack. So this role is on site in the DC metro area, or it can be in Fort Meade in Maryland. The training is actually remote, and the training is for about 10 weeks. But when you actually start the role, because of the nature of the position, it is either DC or in Fort Meade. Now, this position, because it requires a full scope poly, if you have come from an NSA background, an Intel background, or a cyber background, I'm very interested in talking to you. Because, again, the deal breaker is the clearance that is hard to obtain. Our client has said that they will spend an awful lot of time in the training component. And so I am just welcoming anybody right now who has that clearance, who is looking to hear a little bit more. Salary for that one is basic of up to $225,000 with a total compensation package of just over $300,000 per annum. So great role in the DC metro area or Fort Meade, Maryland. So we have a new company that we are working with this week. They are a food services based company, and they have signed an exclusive contract with us for a year for their veteran hiring. So let's back up a step. They really want to recruit in their growing company from our military affiliated community, and they want us to send as many candidates over to them as possible. They are fast workers. So let me tell you about some of the roles that we have. There are regional manager positions in Louisville, Kentucky, Detroit, Michigan, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Farmers Branch, which is northwest Dallas, so in the Dallas metro area, and Indianapolis. They are great positions for those with about 5 or 6 years worth of operations management experience. If you have food and beverage experience or culinary experience, even better, because it is a food services company. there is some travel with those roles, and you would have your own territory and probably about 10 to 12 locations to manage. So if you are interested in hearing a little bit more about those, please do put regional manager in the comments and I will come back to you later. In addition, their headquarters is actually in Farmers Branch, so just outside of Dallas, and they have an HR coordinator role. They have a franchise sales manager role. They have a couple of national training specialist roles, an accounting manager, so accounting rather than account manager, so a finance role, and a NetSuite, a warehouse NetSuite coordinator role. So if any of those are of interest and you like the sound of those job titles, you live in Dallas specifically, this is located in Northwest Dallas, just drop a comment and I will come back to you. Finally, they have one more role. It's the National Training Specialist, and that is out of LA. So if you've ever fancied moving to California, living in that area, and you have got a training background, do connect and I can share that with you. Moving on. I've mentioned this company a couple of times. We've been working with them for about 6 months now. We work and support with one of the big 4 consulting firms. They're global, think PwC, Deloitte, KPMG. We work with one of those, and they specifically are working on the US Army audit readiness contract. Let me get that right. They are looking for people with our military background who have worked in federal finance for at least 6 years. You will have a bachelor's degree in accounting finance, or you will have a master's degree with either CISA, CDFM, CGFM, PMP, or CPA. They have multiple new roles this week in various different sectors within their organization, but those are the deal breakers in terms of qualifications. All are based out of the DC metro area, and they are hybrid. So ordinarily 1 or 2 days on site and 3 or 4 days working from home. So if you are military finance experienced, have a bachelor's and a PMP or one of those other certifications that I mentioned, or a master's degree, definitely connect, because I would love to share more about those roles. And they are paying between about 90 and the 130K mark, dependent on experience. Super new role that came in yesterday and I advertised last night. We are working with a very well-known global investment organization, and they are recruiting a remote cyber war game exercise developer. Now, in full transparency, this is a 12-month fixed-term contract to start with. They do want to make it a permanent role, but if you were to go permanent, you would need to live in and around the Wilmington, Delaware area. But for the first 12 months, this is a remote position. So let me tell you a little bit more about it. It's a remote cyber war game exercise developer, and this is to work independently and as part of a team to design and host engaging information security themed cyber exercises referred to as cyber war games. So you need to have at least 3 to 5 years of experience in cyber exercises or incident response. Your advanced PowerPoint skills are key here. They are looking for people with advanced PowerPoint because there's a lot of presentation, collating, and delivery. A strong track record either in national security or informational security. Good project management skills, able to manage shifting priorities and shifting projects at any given point in time, and really excellent written and communication skills. There's a lot of presentation in this. This is paying around $50 to $80 an hour. So if it sounds like, oh, I'm interested in hearing more about that, drop me a comment and I will get back to you a little later. And that is it from me right now. There was quite a few roles. So Amber, I am going to take a break and hand over to you.
All right. So I'm going to talk about our SkillBridge roles, SkillBridge and or CSP if you're Army, like Lucy said earlier. So if you are active duty currently and you are separating within the next year, the SkillBridge program applies to those of you within your last 180 days of service. So again, this does not apply to veterans. It doesn't apply to spouses, unfortunately. These are internships that are for active duty transitioning service members within their last 180 days of service, which is roughly 6 months. If you have questions about that, about eligibility, definitely talk to your command team. Make sure that you are eligible. Send me a message if you're interested in any of these roles. I'll be more than happy to chat with you about it. So for the first role, we are still looking for, and we'll keep looking for, anybody within the aviation industry. So if you are transitioning, if you are aviation maintenance, whether it's helo, fighter, heavy, doesn't matter, and you are interested in continuing as an aviation mechanic in Alabama, Florida, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Washington, and Oregon, definitely let me know. We are looking for aircraft mechanics, non-licensed, in Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Everett, Washington, and Madras and Hillsboro, Oregon. We are also looking for licensed A&P. So if you have a license, they are looking for you in San Antonio, Texas, or Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So if you are qualified or interested, just send me a message. I'll be more than happy to give you some more information. The next role that we have is with our amazing partners at Texas Instruments. So you've probably heard us talk about Texas Instruments often. We typically are recruiting for equipment technicians. They are now looking for an entry-level IT software development technician. And that will be for their August cohort. Their cohort starts August 26th. So if you are eligible, that meets your time frame, and you meet the experience level required, just drop a note in the chat, IT software, and I will reach out to you. That one does require an associate's degree in computer science, computer engineering, or equivalent military service, 2 years of essentially relevant experience. They would like you to have Unix or Linux experience, Windows PowerShell, some semiconductor manufacturing experience, Java, and SQL. So if you are interested, let me know. We are also still recruiting for their Utah cohort. That is in October. They are looking for equipment technicians and facility technicians in Leahy, Utah, and that start date is the 28th of October. And again, these are just overviews of the jobs. All of the descriptions are on our website, so definitely go to hiremilitary.us and look at our SkillBridge internships for more details on all of these. The next role that I have is a technical success engineer role. This is going to be in the DC metro area. This one does require a TS/SCI clearance with a CI poly. So that is the deal breaker, as Lucy said earlier. You must have a CI poly to apply for this role. So they are looking for 5 years experience in technical support, professional services, system admin, engineering, or related experience. Also 5 years customer relationship experience, as well as, strong knowledge of Splunk products or equivalent products. So if you are interested in that role, let me know, and I will share some more details. Again, that does require a CI poly. The next role I have is a solutions engineer position, and this one is remote. So we are looking for several interns this year to fill solutions engineer positions with Splunk's GSS team. Essentially, we need people who will respond to technical requests, articulate Splunk technology, both in product positioning and with the technical users. They are looking for people with 3 to 5 years of full-time work experience in any industry. It would help if you have some technical background, as it is very technical based. You will get trained during your internship, so that is key as well. They are looking for people who are passionate about technology, client relationships, client success, and sales. So if any of those interest you, definitely send me a message and I will tell you more about it. And finally, the last role we have, super exciting. I know Lucy posted this one earlier this week. So we are looking for AWS solutions architects. These are remote positions with our partners at Skillstorm. So about this one, it is remote. They will train you to become an AWS solutions architect. It does not require any experience at all. However, it does start in July. So if you are eligible to start SkillBridge and you are eligible to participate in 16 weeks of an internship with this company starting at the end of July, then this is definitely something you should look into. The cohort will essentially run from somewhere around 22 July through the beginning of November. Once the 16-week internship is complete, you will then enter into a 10-week paid remote training. So again, that's paid. That's after your SkillBridge window is over and you've separated. You will be paid full-time to do 10 weeks of training. Once that training is complete, you have to be able to relocate to the DC metro area or San Antonio, Texas for the permanent role with one of their clients. This position does require that you have a TS clearance. So top secret clearance. I will say no if you have a secret. They will not upgrade you to a TS. So please, only applicants with TS clearances. So again, this is an opportunity to get in with a company, get the training, essentially 26 weeks of training, and then get placed with a company full-time in either DC or San Antonio. So if you are interested in those roles, drop a note in the chat, Skillstorm, and Lucy will reach out to you and give you some more info. And that's all I have, Lucy. It feels like a lot.
That is a lot. There were just a couple of questions that we had. So Adam asked, hi, will there be another SkillBridge cohort for the architecture, well, solutions architecture? Potentially, yes. We don't know just yet. This is the first one that we are doing with our clients. So we are hoping the answer is yes to that. But watch this space. If there is, it probably will be around the November, December time. I know that Krista, who is one of our co-workers, was very active in the comments, but I did see one from Robin, and she said, how do I make my profile really stand out and not give away too much, but also brand myself and position myself for success? So I think this is a great question. And let me share what I need. Great profile for a candidate, and that might help. First of all, if you have the opportunity to go to Mike's class on Thursday, please do go. It is awesome. It's not recorded, unfortunately, so you do have to be a live person there. But think about what recruiters type into their keywords and search. So if you want to stand out and if you want to go into the search or appear when we do our search, what do we need? So Amber, what do we type? We type location first of all. We always type military background. So when you put yourself as open to work, you can hide that open to work so that only recruiters see it. There is a checkbox there. And when you do put that there, it asks you what roles that you are looking for and in what locations. So somebody else asked, and I think it might have been Robert, yes, how do I make myself say that I'm global? You can put nationwide, you can put global in there, you can put the locations. And when I am looking for candidates, I go straight to that open to work section that you guys don't see. I just have the back end of it. And I look and I try and match the location, first of all. Now, what I will say, and I'm being very facetious, Robert, but make sure that you genuinely mean anywhere. Because my first question when I was a career counselor was, okay, so should we look at roles in North Dakota then? Both Amber and I have lived in North Dakota, so I can say that with love in my heart. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. It really isn't. And so, be very transparent, candid, honest about what you would do. Also, make sure that all of the keywords that we might be searching for. So what I would suggest is if you are looking for an information security role, take the opportunity to look at a few job descriptions for information security. Look at the tech stack that it's looking for, or look at the experience or the keywords, so the ones that appear again and again, and make sure that those are in your resume, either in, your LinkedIn profile, either in the bulk of it where you put your career experience or in the keywords at the bottom. So specifically tech stack, make sure everything is on there. Certifications, everything is on there, because often if I'm recruiting, I will type in PMP, CDFM, CGFM, because my clients specifically need that for that role. So even if you are a really great candidate, if you don't have those certifications for a specific role I'm recruiting, then it's a no-go. So that's what I search. So kind of get your head and brain in the mind of a recruiter and work towards that. I hope that's helped, Robin. And Robert, it's great that you are motivated to go everywhere. Deonti asked, if we don't have a clearance but want a clearance job, can we still apply in the hopes that the company will issue a clearance, or should we stick to non-clearance? Amber, I think you'll agree with me. If the company is asking for a clearance, that is a deal breaker. They need that. So if you don't have it, you are not going to be successful on this occasion.
I will say, if they were open to, upgrading you from a lower clearance level, or, hosting your clearance, they would say that in the job description. So unless it's listed that they're willing to do that, they typically are not. They're gonna source initially for candidates who already have it. So
yeah. So Mike Quinn, our CEO, always recommends getting in with a company that does perform security clearance work, but start with a role that isn't cleared so that you can move internally and go that way. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I don't see the name here, but we've got another question before we go. Are there intern opportunities for veterans that just got out, so not SkillBridge? Unfortunately, we do not work in that space. We only work in the SkillBridge internship space or the permanent jobs. So I'm sorry I can't help you there, but we have run 1 minute over. I've got a meeting awaiting me, and Amber, you probably do have too. So it just leaves me to say thank you so much for joining us. I love the questions. We love interacting with you. We will be back the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time next Tuesday. Until then, we will return later to answer the questions in the comments that we haven't so far. But we hope you have lovely weeks, and thank you for spending 30 minutes with us. Bye-bye.